Chapter 91, Husband and Wife Ensemble, Piano and Flute Resonate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhang Jiehua was red-faced and shaking, utterly humiliated in front of Lu Muhan and everyone else. He'd basically torched the image he'd worked so hard to build. He glared at Yang Ling, his teeth clenched. You win this round, but let's see how long you last. With that, he stormed off, leaving his violin behind in his haste to escape the villa. He looked utterly pathetic, people shook their heads. All he had to do was swallow his pride, compliment Yang Ling, and laugh it off. It wasn't the end of the world, but no, he had to be a sore loser. Like father, like son, maybe. He'd made the whole crowd cringe with embarrassment. Zhang Jiehua's reputation had just taken a nosedive. The dance went on, with young people showing off their talents, but after Yang Ling's impressive performance, everything else felt lackluster. Even Lin Xiaoshuang's ballet couldn't recapture their interest, and Huang Lao seemed bored, barely offering any comments. It wasn't until Lu Muhan took her place at the piano that things turned around. Bathed in a soft light, she looked calm and serene in her evening gown, like a goddess under the moon. Suddenly, the old man upstairs chuckled. Xiao Ling, Muhan once mentioned wanting to play The Wizard of Oz with someone. Do you play the flute or dongxiao? Huh. Yang Ling blinked, then gave a wry smile. Yeah, I do, but I've never actually played with anyone. There's a first time for everything. Just go for it. The old man encouraged. Come on, let's have some fun together. What do you say? That the audience, still riding the high from the shakon, wondered if Yang Ling could pull this off, and started to egg him on with cheers and whistles. Yang Ling, taking the dongxiao from Han Yakin with a wry smile, slowly walked toward the stage. Lu Muhan didn't look at him, but as he got closer, a faint blush crept up her neck. Why are you so shy? Yang Ling thought. His eyes scanned the sheet music on the piano. Silence fell over the crowd. Lu Muhan took a deep breath, stole a glance at Yang Ling, and then began to play. The Wizard of Oz has an ethereal feel, the piano mostly accompaniment, the soulful dongxiao its heart. Yang Ling, familiar with all musical instruments, lowered his head and began to play softly. The zhao's sound echoed like an elf's whisper in a valley, beautiful and moving, drawing everyone in. As if captivated by the xiao, Lu Muhan calmed down, the piano sounding like a gentle, trickling stream, adding to the tranquility. The qin and xiao blended, transporting everyone to a magical fairyland, faces full of bliss, as if they were surrounded by birdsong and blooming flowers. When the song finished, the audience erupted in applause. Yang Ling smiled and turned to see Lu Muhan looking back at him, her eyes soft and shy, breathtakingly beautiful. Chapter 92, The task is completed, and there is no limit to wishing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yang Ling's face flushed, and Lu Muhan seemed to catch on to what was happening, her own fair face instantly turning pink. Flustered, she looked away, staring down at the sheet music, lost in thought. *ding, you have fulfilled everyone's wish to hear the voice of nature, wish value +1 star. *ding, you have fulfilled Mr. Lu's wish, wish value +1, current progress 6 out of 10 star. *ding, you played the dongxiao part of the Wizard of Oz perfectly. Lu Muhan's favorability toward you is +5, currently at 50. Favorability has been automatically converted into intimacy, **************************************************** you have completed the system quest and have received 1 unlimited wish opportunity, tip, you can continue to increase the intimacy of the characters associated with the system. At 100, you will receive a treasure chest. Now that's a bonus, Yang Ling thought. But when he realized it was Lu Muhan he had to work with, he felt a bit helpless. It was proving difficult to improve the female president's favorability. Her charisma seemed to have no effect on her, and despite everything that had happened, just this ensemble of the Wizard of Oz earned him a mere 5 points of favorability. Any other girl would be head over heels at this point, maybe even just meeting her would be enough. He knew that treasure chest would hold something great, but at this rate, he would be waiting forever to get his hands on it. Speaking of favorability, he couldn't help but think of that little fan girl who sent him the rocket. If only she were a system-related character, but what young Ling wanted most right now was to find a secluded place and use his unlimited wish. Lost in his thoughts, he probably just seemed like a perfect gentleman to everyone else, waiting to escort Lu Muhan off the stage. Upstairs, the two old men found Yang Ling more and more pleasing. One smiled, while the other glared at his own son. Why couldn't that good-for-nothing have gotten married earlier and given him a granddaughter already? That old codger Mayu was about to beat him to it, and he was furious. The crowd below was buzzing. Yang Ling's talent and class were now widely accepted. They'd naturally accepted Yang Ling as one of their own, one of high society's elite. If anyone dared to call Yang Ling a poor kid, trash, or anything like that, they'd have a fight on their hands. That's how this circle worked. Yang Ling had officially arrived. On stage, Lu Muhan's blush had faded, and she'd regained her composure. Following proper etiquette, she expected Yang Ling to gently help her up, bow to the audience, and descend together, but she glanced over to find him in a daze, seemingly oblivious, confused. Lu Muhan assumed he didn't understand. With a still flushed face, she stood and gave a light, pointed cough. Yang Ling finally snapped out of it, and she offered a faint smile, but her happiness was short-lived. Yang Ling suddenly said, "President Lu, I've eaten, I've played, it's getting late. You should go to bed." With that, he strode off the stage and waved to the old man and Mr. Huang. "I'm heading home to crash, see you later." And without a backward glance, he left the villa. Silence descended, just like that. Where was the gentlemanly behavior? Go home to sleep. It was only 10 o'clock. He didn't even have a wife. Was he going to bed so early just for the heck of it? Cinderella didn't transform until midnight, right? Chapter 93. The lightning at the fingertips is controlled by thunder. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man chuckled. "Hey Huang, these young folks aren't as healthy as they used to be. You ready to turn in?" Huang Lao smiled and nodded. "That kid's all right. Early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, right? Let's get him up for some morning exercise tomorrow." Everyone watched the two old-timers go, speechless for a moment before it finally clicked. The older generation is all about that healthy lifestyle, and Yang Ling is just playing to their crowd. Smooth move. Some guys have all the luck. Why didn't we think of that? Meanwhile, Lu Muhan was feeling a little stung. This guy just took off and left her hanging, with that lame excuse. Go home. His wife's right here, and her grandfather slipped him the keys to the villa. Isn't this his home? He wouldn't be seeing someone else, would he? Her woman's intuition kicked in, and Lu Muhan suddenly got suspicious, then realized she was being ridiculous and shook her head with a wry smile. Ding! You crushed Lu Muhan's hope of getting out of there with you. Attribute point +1. Yang Ling, already out of the villa area, paused, realizing he'd messed up. He looked back apologetically, but picked up the pace. Soon, he arrived at a small park where he often farmed attribute points. The moon was out, and the park was deserted. Standing by the lake, he said, "System, I want to use the unlimited wishing meeting to give me the ability to control lightning." He'd thought this wish through and through. Controlling lightning was the ultimate combo of offense and defense. He could blast lightning bolts or juice up thrown coins for offense. For defense, he could throw up a lightning fence around himself, mess with the magnetic field, and use his senses to defend against anything, even a sniper. Hey, there were definitely people out there who wanted him gone. What if they hired a hitman? He had to be prepared. After he spoke, the system didn't reply like it usually did, but fell silent. Please let my wish succeed. Wish success, wish success. Yang Ling felt his heart pounding in his chest and started chanting under his breath. It felt like a second, felt like centuries. Then, the system's voice finally spoke. Ding. Wish granted. Congratulations, host, for acquiring the skill, Thunder Control. Thunder Control, the ability to manipulate all lightning in the world at will. Ding. Thunder Control is an extroverted ability, and the host needs to level up. Current skill level, LV1. Current amount of manipulable lightning energy, 1 unit. Ding. Your charm value +1. Sweet, Yang Ling whooped. As the system finished speaking, he felt a surge of mystical power within him, followed by a flash of understanding. He focused, and the thunder elements around him instantly gathered at his fingertips, forming a bolt of lightning as thick as a pinky, he thought, and the spark blasted a nearby stone, leaving a small, smoking crater. Superpowers, this is superpowers, Yang Ling laughed. He felt like he'd reached a new level, and his whole body felt amazing. But when he tried to make a bigger lightning bolt, he couldn't. That single unit of thunder was all he could manage for now. Chapter 94 Yang Ling is on fire. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, hold on a sec. Trying to contain his excitement, Yang Ling was quick to ask, System, how do I level up this skill? Ding! Each upgrade of this skill type requires a wish value ranging from 10 to 50. After upgrading, the skill's power increases tenfold. Level 1 is the lowest, and level 5 is the highest. The host will expend a certain amount of physical and mental energy each time it's used. Please use it with caution. Yang Ling was caught off guard and then just smiled ruefully. This system is a real pain. It gives me this ability, but it comes with so many restrictions. Whatever. I'll use it one at a time for now. One day, I'll truly be able to control the thunder and command the wind and rain. Now he has a free attribute point. Without hesitation, he adds 4 points to physical strength and spirit. Ding! The host's physical strength has reached 20 points. Drawing a reward, please wait. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving the reward, strength plus 5. Yang Ling smiled a little, accepting it for what it was. The previous full point reward was a skill, which was super lucky. He can't always be that lucky. But 5 points of strength is still good. After this boost, his current stats increased again, strength, 25. Agility, 20. Stamina, 20. Spirit, 19. Charisma. This panel is starting to look superhuman. He laughed, in a great mood, and headed back to his apartment. When he got home, the pretty streamer was live streaming. He didn't bother her. He washed up, cleaned up, and went to bed. He must have used up a lot of mental energy yesterday because he slept like a log this time, that is, until Chu Xin woke him up. Yang Ling opened his eyes to see Chu Xin straddling him in loose pajamas, her big white legs out in the open, and her face flushed with excitement. Yang Ling's first thought was, this is it, I'm losing my virginity. Seeing the situation clearly, he breathed a sigh of relief and then said in a grumpy voice, you can't just go around waking people up like that. What if something happened to me? Would you be responsible? Chu Xin was stunned for a second, then burst out laughing. Oh, you're finally cracking up. I'll take care of you. Knock it off. Hey, Ling, look at this video. Is this you? Yang Ling took a curious look. The video showed a young man playing the violin. Wasn't that him from last night? He nodded, a little confused. Yeah, it's me. So what? Chu Xin, hearing his confirmation, said in surprise, you're going viral. The whole internet is going nuts over your videos. Huh? Yang Ling was stunned and opened the comments to see a screen full of 666, plus a ton of compliments. Voice of an angel. Who is this guy? Why is his face so blurry? I'm gonna kill that cameraman. Even blurry, I still want to be his girlfriend. This is a true artist. All those pretty boys are nowhere near as good. Ugh. Why didn't he finish the performance? Is he trying to torture my OCD? Yang Ling glanced at the view count on P Station. It had already hit 1 million. Chu Xin said excitedly, your videos aren't just on big video sites like P Station. They're all over social media platforms, too. Go check out Dunyang. You're trending at number 1. Yang Ling was speechless, completely dumbfounded. All I did was play the violin. It doesn't have to be this crazy. Chapter 95 Hot Search Number 1, the whole network is looking for him. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hold on a sec, over the next while, Ling checked out the major media websites and saw headlines like "Mysterious Teen Wows with Stunning Shakon," and "Who is this guy making our ears swoon? Where is he?" Besides the praise for Ling's violin skills, the comments sections were blowing up. People were complaining about the poor recording quality and why the whole performance wasn't captured. It's human nature, really. Imagine listening to incredible music, totally relaxed, and then it cuts off at the best part. It's like getting stabbed. Almost instantly, rumors about the mystery boy were everywhere online. Netizens were searching, the Music Association was searching, even private investigators were on the case. Chu Xin, still buzzing from the performance, finally let him up. After a moment of thought, Ling smiled faintly. Out on the balcony, he called Yan Xing, asking seriously, "You aware of this? Tell me what's going on." Yan Xing sounded sheepish. "Mr. Yang, the high-quality video from the party is still secure in our department. This clip online must have been filmed by a guest and leaked. Because it involves you, the chairman's ordered a lid on your identity, at least for now." Ling scoffed. "Is this how you guys operate? Do you have any idea the trouble this could cause? These private events are supposed to be confidential. Guests are forbidden from filming." Yan Xing deserved the dressing down. Ling continued, "All right, get your IT guys up here. I have something to discuss." Yan Xing cringed, knowing he was about to get a lecture, but Ling was a VP now. He couldn't refuse. He hesitantly asked, "Mr. Yang, should we loop in Director Lu? Or maybe call a meeting to sort this out?" After a pause, Ling said, "Director Lu's busy. We can handle this ourselves. Come over now." "Yes, sir." Half an hour later, at Ling's apartment in Tianxin Garden, Ling sat on the sofa in the living room. Yan Xing and two other men stood before him. One was Zhang Lu from security, and the other was Wang Bo, head of IT. Chu Xin had been sent back to bed long ago. Looking at Ling's impassive face, they nervously swallowed, bracing for a scolding. Ling looked them over, then suddenly asked, "Wang, what are our group's most popular websites?" Wang Bo looked surprised, then answered truthfully, "Mr. Yang, the group only recently started getting into the online world. We've bought a few smaller media sites. The only one with any real traction is the TCPL platform." Ling knew TCPL was a general site offering video, news, and social networking, maybe a second-tier site. Nationally, he nodded and asked curiously, "In the digital age, with information exploding like this, and with this video going viral, Wang, do you think we could cash in on this buzz?" Everyone was stunned, and then their eyes widened. Online these days, traffic equals users, and users equal money. If they could drive enough traffic to the site, investors and advertisers would be throwing money at them. Chapter 96: Ling's Money-Making Plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ling's idea floored everyone. They were blown away. The boss is a genius. He spots business opportunities out of thin air. Ling was just spitballing, but Wang Bo, the head of tech, instantly saw the possibilities. After thinking for a moment, he said, "Mr. Yang, we could say we contacted you and have you make a guest appearance on our website, maybe play a song live. The traffic would explode, and we could charge advertisers a fortune. I'd conservatively estimate advertising revenue alone could hit 2 million. Ling gestured for them to sit. He chuckled and said, "That's a good idea, but it's a one-time thing. Here's what we'll do. Your department will post that video of me and Lu Dong jamming together, from a decent angle, on the website later. But before you do, you need to handle a few things. First, Dong Lu and I need to be in the background. Second, Lu Dong's figure should be as blurry as possible, so nobody can recognize him. I can be a little clearer, but don't show my face. Also, blur the surrounding scenery and the other guests, so no one can figure out where it was filmed. After doing all that, don't say you found me. Instead, say it's a video provided by an anonymous user who'll be posting new videos on the website, revealing more and more If you still don't understand at this point, you shouldn't be working here, people were astounded. It's like watching a movie, unfolding bit by bit, teasing the audience and leaving them wanting more. Needless to say, website traffic would skyrocket and keep going up. Yan Xing immediately started buttering him up. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Mr. Yang, I've never heard of such a thing. I'm your biggest fan. Ha, Wang Bo frowned. Was Yan Xing trying to steal his thunder? Not on his watch. He immediately joined in with effusive praise. His sycophancy was over the top, practically deifying Yang Ling. Yan Xing and Zhang Lu were dumbfounded. They never realized this guy had it in him. Seeing Wang Bo gearing up for a lengthy speech, Yang Ling quickly cut him off. Alright, I get the point. Let's move on. Wang Bo smiled, relieved he'd gotten his moment. Ding! You shattered Wang Bo's wish to keep sucking up, attribute point +1. Yang Ling rolled his eyes and continued, what do you think we should do with the revenue from this wildly popular website? I'm on it, without hesitation, Wang Bo said, Mr. Yang, you can decide how to split it, Yang Ling frowned. He said angrily, you idiot. How could I just decide? Doesn't the company have a financial system? You're all key members of the leadership team. You need to set an example and stop saying such irresponsible things. What? People were startled, then realized, weren't you the one who brought up the topic of revenue? How are we being irresponsible by following your lead? But everyone was playing the game. Yan Xing knew his chance had arrived and quickly jumped in. Mr. Yang, we have rules about this. If an employee has a personal project and uses company resources, it needs to be approved. The company won't cover any losses, but if the project's profitable, we get 20% of the proceeds. Chapter 97 Anger earns 2.8 million. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yang Ling nodded, pleased. Alright, have the tech department run with it. Skip Director Lu, I'll approve it right here. Tech handles the specifics, security assists. As for profits, we'll kick back 0% to corporate. The two departments split 10% as a little bonus for the crew. People exchanged surprised glances. This project reeked of money, and this young master just went rogue, bypassing the general manager's office to sign off himself, and giving 0% to corporate. Now that's a reputation boost. Duan Gao Ming, you sly dog. Still, a piece of the pie for your own department. You'd have to be a fool to complain, one guy spoke up immediately, don't sweat it, President Yang. We'll get cracking right away. Ding. You fulfilled someone's wish to make extra dough. Wish value +1. Current progress /10. Yang Ling said, get moving. And get me a proposal ASAP. After they left, Yang Ling smiled and headed out of the apartment. He figured he had a week left before the college entrance exams. Even with a plan, he needed to prep more and aim high. On his way to the bookstore, his phone buzzed. It was Jiang Hua. Bro, we found the place, but the owner's out of town. Won't be back for, 2 weeks. Yang Ling had almost forgotten, Jiang Hua hadn't called in a while. He chuckled, handle things as you see fit. I trust your judgment. And if you need more cash, just ring me. Got it. Jiang Hua, on the other end, lowered his voice mysteriously. Hey, I overheard something. Fang Yue. Looks like Tianjuan dumped her. Saw her walking home alone last night, wiping her eyes. Really? Yang Ling frowned, paused, then sighed. Whatever. She's nothing to me anymore. You get back to work. Gotta go. Meanwhile, the online buzz around Yang Ling and Lu Muhan's ensemble was exploding. The Wizard of Oz had gone viral. Finally, people had heard Yang Ling's full performance. The music was incredible and his elegant silhouette had fans hooked. Everyone wanted to see this mysterious young man's face. TC Network's traffic went through the roof, jumping from tens of thousands of hits a day to millions. New signups were hitting 100,000 in days. The website had blown up overnight, advertising and sponsorship offers poured in. In days, the website had raked in a staggering $4 million, more than all of the previous year. On day 4, a major music site offered $1 million for the rights to the video. The group's general manager was ready to jump at it, but Ling shot it down. The video drove traffic through the roof, and that was worth more than a one-time payment. He had bigger plans for making bank. The mystery surrounding the young musician continued to grow, and the website's traffic kept rising. Ling kept a poker face when he got the reports, but inside, he was ecstatic. In just 5 days, his account had swelled by $2.8 million. Chapter 98, Unexpectedly, She's Still a Younger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The internet blew up 5 days later when an anonymous source revealed the video player was none other than Lu Muhan, chairwoman of the Muhua Group. The source further claimed the young man had close ties to the Lu family, was already an executive at Muhua Group, and was somehow still prepping for his college entrance exams. This musical prodigy was still a student, yet already a top executive at a major corporation. The news spread like wildfire. Everyone wanted to see this genius in action, and many fans pleaded with the teen to hold a concert. On the TC online platform, the comments section overflowed with well wishes for his upcoming exams. That night, the digital tips for the video, in the form of virtual flowers, totaled a whopping $1.2 million. Ling's cut came to another $600,000. With public interest reaching fever pitch, Muhua Group had to respond. A spokesperson released a statement saying Ling appreciated all the support but would be avoiding public appearances for the time being to focus on his exams. The statement seemed to calm things down, at least for now. The next morning, Ling checked his account and saw a balance of $500,000. Not bad at all. Since he'd already tasked the old man with finding the energy stone, he could actually afford to spend some of this money. He decided to enjoy the feeling of being loaded, at least for a little while. Today was the day of the college entrance exam. After getting ready, Ling grabbed his admission ticket and headed to the test center. On the way, he ran into someone he knew. A couple of girls sat looking scared and upset in a taxi surrounded by a group of guys in suits and sunglasses. The taxi driver looked like he wanted to be anywhere else, and people were pointing at the scene, but too afraid to intervene. The college entrance exam was a huge deal. Under normal circumstances, Ling might have ignored it, but the girls in the cab were Fong Yue and her sister, Fong Yumeng. And leading this posse of goons was none other than Tian Zhuyan, hobbling on crutches. Ling frowned slightly and calmly walked over. Fong Yue had already gotten out of the car. Tian Zhuyan glared at her, saying, "You think you can just call it off like that, Fong Yue? Who do you think you are? Do you know who I am, Tian Zhuyan?" Tears welled up in Fong Yue's eyes. "Brother Yan, please, can you just let us through? Xiaomeng is going to be late for her exam. Can we talk about this later, please?" Tian Zhuyan snapped. "Talk later? I'm Tian Zhuyan, I don't wait for anyone. If it wasn't for you, Ling wouldn't have beaten me half to death. My family wouldn't have lost so much money. I spent a fortune to get you into Donghua University, and you're still talking to Ling behind my back. When are you going to pay me back?" "I wasn't. It was just a coincidence that day." Tears streamed down Fong Yue's face. Tian Zhuyan had been so charming and thoughtful when he was pursuing her, but now, after dropping the act, he was a monster. Tian Zhuyan sneered. "Don't think I don't know what's going on. I've been with you for a year, and you still won't sleep with me. Still hung up on your little boyfriend, huh?" "No, it's not like that." Fong Yue kept wiping her tears, shaking her head. "I just want to save the most special part of myself for our wedding night. Master Tian, please, just let us go. If my sister misses her exam, it'll ruin her life." Ling, standing nearby, glanced at Fong Yue in surprise. Was she really still a virgin? If you like the God-level wish system, all-domain domination, please bookmark it. 8kungshu.com. The God-level wish system, all-domain domination has the fastest update speed. Chapter 99. Keep the legs or get out. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just a sec, Fong Yue's please didn't sway Tianjuan. With a nasty look, he said, 5 million. Give me the money back, and you're off the hook. Otherwise, not only can your sister forget about college, but you two are coming with me today. Fong Yumeng trembled in the car, and Fong Yue was in tears. She choked out, Mr. Tian, I promise I'll pay you back. Please, just let my sister take her exams. I'll get you your money, just don't hurt her. Pay back. Tianjuan sneered, you haven't got a pot to piss in. He raised his hand to strike. But his palm froze mid-air, as a powerful hand grabbed his wrist in an iron grip. Yang Ling. Everyone turned and gasped. Almost instinctively, Tianjuan stumbled back, looking at Yang Ling with sheer terror. He was speechless. The bodyguards beside him, who'd seen Yang Ling in action before, recoiled in shock. In the blink of an eye, the arrogant tough guys looked like mice caught in the headlights. Yang Ling glanced at the crying woman with a pitying expression, then turned to Tianjuan with a smirk. Well, if it isn't Mr. Tian. Fancy meeting you here. Tianjuan visibly trembled, but with so many people around, he tried to act tough. Yang Ling. I'm dealing with my own woman here. What's it to you? What's it to me? Yang Ling said casually, who you mess with is your business, but have you forgotten something? I warned you, if you keep buzzing around in my ear, I'll shut you up permanently. Looks like you didn't take me seriously. Tianjuan paled. His leg, the one Yang Ling had stomped on, throbbed with phantom pain. He stumbled back again, horrified. I didn't know you'd be here. Yang Ling, you took a ton of money from my family. Don't push your luck. Yang Ling scoffed. Couldn't care less if you knew. Here's the deal, either you walk away right now, or you leave a leg behind. From the moment Yang Ling showed up, the onlookers had been stunned. It was unbelievable that some ordinary kid could scare off a rich brat and his army of goons. Now, Yang Ling was telling Tianjuan to get lost. This was too much. Everyone stared at Tianjuan. In the face of pure fear, Tianjuan, his ego deflated, wanted to jump in the car and peel out, but then Yang Ling's voice cut through the air like a knife. Did I say you could leave in the car? The words weren't loud, but they hit Tianjuan like a punch to the gut. He was so scared he didn't dare get in. Not daring to look at Yang Ling, he snarled at Fong Yue, you bitch. Don't think you're safe just because you've got a bodyguard now. I'll deal with you when school starts. With that, he and his bodyguards limped away in disgrace. Ding! You shattered Tianjuan's wish to mess with Xia Yue. Wish value +1. Current progress, February 10th. The onlookers were gobsmacked. Fong Yue breathed a sigh of relief, and Fong Yumeng in the car gazed at Yang Ling with open admiration. Speaking of this wish value, On Ling had been grinding all week. He had been ensuring he collected a minimum of 2 wish values and attribute points from animals every day. However, even so, he had already filled the wishing slot twice. Chapter 100 I'm not a lost flower or a willow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He'd used it before to upgrade his lightning control, boosting it to 10 controllable units. He was saving the other wish for an emergency, plus, he had 15 and used attribute points burning a hole in his pocket. His goal was clear, ace the college entrance exams. He glanced at Fong Yue, who was still sobbing, and sighed. He pulled out a pack of tissues and handed them over, saying calmly, get in the car. Then, he headed towards Tianjuan's van. Watching him walk away, Fong Yue felt even worse. She stood there, frozen, tears streaming down her face. It wasn't until her sister got out of the taxi and gently tugged her sleeve that she found the courage to follow. Yang Ling naturally took the passenger seat. He didn't have a license. After wiping her eyes, Fong Yue got behind the wheel, and her sister, Fong Yumeng, sat in the back. As the van pulled away, an uneasy silence filled the car, broken only by Fong Yue's quiet sobs. Finally, she whispered, Ling, thank you for today. Aha, Yang Ling mumbled in response. That set her off again. She choked out, I'm sorry, after what I did, you still helped me. I'm so sorry, you must hate me. But I couldn't help it. I didn't want any of this. She was losing it, her hands shaking on the steering wheel. Young Ling calmly reached over, steadied the wheel, and said quietly, I told you then, don't come crying to me if you regret splitting up. What's the point of telling me this now? Fang Yue burst into tears, overwhelmed by sadness and regret. She bit her lip, trying to hold it together, but she couldn't control her emotions. She suddenly grabbed Yang Ling's arm, sobbing, I regretted it the day we broke up. I miss you every night, but I'm going to college, and I can't. Fang Yuming chimed in softly from the back, he's right, brother Ling. She's always crying in her room. Yang Ling's heart skipped a beat. He stared at the tearful girl beside him, remembering their time together. Fang Yue was looking back at him, her eyes filled with hope. After a long silence, Yang Ling sighed softly, I said I didn't want to be anyone's consolation prize. Fang Yue blurted out, I'm not. I'm still a virgin. I don't believe you can. Before he could finish, Yang Ling cut him off with a look. After a moment, he shook his head slightly and said, but you still dumped me. Fang Yue's heart sank, and tears welled up again. Fang Yuming offered a wry smile from the back. Seeing her so upset, Yang Ling's heart softened. He sighed, then changed his expression and smiled slightly, you were always so amazing. I just wanted to catch up.